Discovering a Tuscany escape for couples and even families. Hey guys, Fuse here from Fuse Travels with another video talking about my favorite country, Italy. But this time we are going to the region of Tuscany and specifically to the town of Chianciano, which is how I think you pronounce it. I know it's a K in the beginning. So Chianciano has beautiful natural hot springs there. So my husband and I started going to a few hot springs in Italy because we like it because typically it is free or low cost. And it's something fun to do to break up the hustle and bustle of a city like Rome or Naples. So I want to share with you guys when we were there last time and why I love this place and why I would go back. First up, we stayed at a wonderful, super budget-friendly hotel called Hotel Lori. Now this hotel really surprised us. I had found it in a blog post that I read online and it was only 56 euros because we did travel in, I think for that trip it was either late October or early November, which is already considered shoulder season. So here's a tip for you. A great time to travel to Tuscany is in the fall and in the shoulder season. So another good time would be in the spring during spring break. So first we did a few days in Rome, then we rented a car, and we decided to rent a car because we wanted to stop by this town, which was smaller. So we decided to drive from Rome to Florence. I'm going to be doing another video all about driving in Italy and what you should know because we have done it 4 times. Now we rented the car and we spent a few days in Rome, as I said, and we went to Chianciano. Now we arrived there at Hotel Lori, which they have spa services, but they did not speak English at all when we went, and this is pre-COVID. I don't know how it is now, but we were shocked with the view. Our room was great. We had this gorgeous view of Tuscany. I just couldn't believe it, and even breakfast was included. The next day for breakfast was funny because I told the lady, who I think was the owner's wife, that I wasn't gonna have breakfast until my husband came, and she thought that was wonderful, how respectful of me. They had delicious pastries and cappuccinos, so I strongly recommend this hotel. So the first day we got there, what we did was we parked our car, and one tip, if you are deciding to drive in Italy, always ask the hotel where to park. So they did have parking in the street. So Chianciano Terme, actually. So it is a commune of actually Siena, which is the bigger town. So it's about 90 kilometers southeast of Florence. Another reason we decided to stop here for 2 days, 2 nights. And it's located between Val di Chiana and Val d'Orca. So it's a great spot if you're heading to Florence and driving there to stop and get a few days of tranquility. And again, we went because we wanted to do the thermal bath. So the town borders Chiusi, Montepulciano, Pienza, and Sortiano. A great little hub to stay at if you want to do those other stops too, because Pienza and Montepulciano are very well known Tuscan cities. So for the first night, what we did was just walk downstairs and look for a walking distance restaurant, which we found, and we were there for aperitivo time. Now I had a wonderful wine, so it's a Sangiovese wine bottle, which was only 10 euros for the whole bottle, and it was aperitivo time, so they served the little pizzas and olives, and the town only has about 7,000 people. So it was really quiet, it was quaint, it wasn't crowded at all. It was just really us and the locals. So as we were there, I wanted something to do in the evening for dinner. I wasn't sure where we were going to go to dinner. So I wanted to really do a wine tasting, but my husband didn't want to do it. So I decided to Google restaurants near me with a sunset view. That's one tip. Whenever you're planning a trip, you always want to go on Google and ask really specific questions like, best brunch spot or even Instagram spots, because then what Google does is it goes through the reviews to see if anybody mentioned any of those keywords. So I looked that up and this restaurant popped up, which we didn't know it was actually Montepulciano. So it was very close by. We ended up going to Montepulciano at night and finding one of my favorite restaurants in Montepulciano, which I talked about before, and we were able to go there, I believe 5 years later, and it was still there. This is a restaurant that when we then drank another bottle of wine, had some appetizers, but we had dinner. And Max had this wild boar ragu, which was delicious. It was so good, he ordered another one for take home. I also had my favorite tiramisu ever. And here's the name of the restaurant, and I'm leaving the name of the restaurant also here in the caption details for you guys. So we had this lovely dinner. Unfortunately, when we got there, the sun had already set, but what happens is this restaurant, which kind of looks like a cave inside, to be honest, they have a parking area, and then they have like the stone wall, which has a beautiful view of Tuscany. So it is really great for sunset, and it's close to the main square in Montepulciano on top. We did get a chance to explore Montepulciano another time, and it's a fantastic Tuscany city to visit, always on top of my list. So that was the first night. Now the second day, we planned to go to the hot springs. Now, the hot springs, there is a bougier spa place if you decide to go, and then there's one that is more thermal baths. That's the one we opted. So when we went, it was only 17 euros, I believe, but I'm gonna leave the name of the place down here so you can know the updated price. So we arrived there, and please do not make this mistake like we did. So when we got there, we didn't know, but your hair needs to be covered because the thermal hot springs the water comes from the hot springs, the volcanic water. So they want to preserve it as much as possible, so they don't want hair. So you do need a hair cap. So I recommend you take your own, or else we had to buy one for 3 euros. I think we forgot our flip-flops. So that was the other thing. We had towels. So you want towels, you want flip-flops, especially when we went, it was a little colder, and they had the indoor thermal bath areas and the outdoor thermal baths. And it's cool because they have lounge chairs which you can relax. Some of the chairs have more of like a massage like water. It was just super relaxing, very scenic. And inside this place, they have the locker rooms for you to change and shower, but they also have like a restaurant. So we did end up getting some, I think, beer and snacks there. So they do have like a mini little restaurant inside. What I also loved about this thermal spring location is that it didn't smell. So if you ever visited hot springs in Italy or elsewhere, we've got a chance to visit one in Greece. The volcanic, I don't know what it's called, but smells really, really harsh. This place, it didn't smell at all. So that was our day number 2. And I don't remember where we went for dinner on the second night. I don't think we went back to that place. But that took up, we just did some walking, sightseeing around there. And that night we just ate at a local restaurant nearby, which was, fine. Then the next morning we headed out, we had our breakfast, then we headed off on our way. On this trip, we were able to stop by Siena, then we headed to Florence. Overall, I love this little town. I would go there again. It was super peaceful and super relaxing. I'm gonna leave my full blog post below so you can check out more details and info on our itinerary during that trip. Don't forget to follow for more Italy and Europe travel tips.